Good afternoon. I'm going to be discussing the Adam and Eve complex. This is all my understanding, my philosophy. With the help of my father. So, already, what came to mind thinking about the Adam and Eve complex was the fact that in society, or in a community, there must be need for so much input from the output of things, from everything that's outside of yourself. And I say that's not true, but I also come to explain why it's so far from true. I speak about individuality. I speak about how all you need is you. All you need is love. All you need is love, love in you, God, the love of God. So I wanted to take it back to Adam and Eve, the beginning, the mother and the father of all, and all the great things that they are. But what they stand for, I see a lot of things you can take from it. I do think that when you do hear about them, it's not in the great light. Hmm. The story, the message. And even with the message, people are trying to understand still, whether it's trying to depict it. But I'm not here to do any of that. Not in this, not today, not in this live. I'm just here to say what I am going to say. The Adam and Eve complex to me is so vital. It's so necessary. It's the beginning. And that should have dominated people's ways, influence. But instead, it seems like what unfortunately transpired in the beginning the sin, the not so great things is the focus, is what we've been influenced in. So I want to shed light on the lighter things, on the influence side of it. And yes, the book is closed, of course, but if I can remember certain verses, I'll give credit to it. And if you can come to see verses through what I'm speaking, then give credit to it, not to me, but to God, because it is all truth. It is all truth that we're seeking, and we're not trying to take or add to the truth, nor are we trying to change it. But what we're doing is seeking the truth and humbling ourselves while we do it. So I don't know everything. I would never claim to know everything. But instinctually, I would like to believe that what I'm going to say is, yes, coming from my understanding, but also is coming from a place of my soul where my soul knows and tries to remind me of these things. So I don't search on the surface. I'm not particularly searching from emotional place. So there is clarity somewhere in there where I find confidence in speaking these things. And more to it, because I do close the book, right? I say close the book in figurative 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 ways, and then also literal ways. I don't need the book because I trust that God has put it in me, in my soul. But I also know that the book that I say close is a book that I'll always need and I'll always treasure. It's still a book that's a book to keep always. But I think I know it's the revelation I get when I speak things, and then the book that I always keep, I'll open, and then I'll see how I'm in alignment, how I am being taught, that God is teaching me these things, that I'm not just speaking and talking just to talk. No, that I'm actually saying something. So let's continue. Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve being the mother and father of all living. In the beginning, as you can visualize it, it was just them before they had children. And by it being just them, there was no outside influence other than other than God and the serpent. However you want to depict the serpent, they depict him as a snake, right? And they depict the snake as something slick and untrustworthy that can just sway its way. So, very tricky, but it all still means the same thing. That the only influence they had was God's influence and the serpents. So, in other ways to look at it, the big God, the Almighty God, and then the little God that he given power to. But they didn't have influence from people. So that's how we know what influence and where influence starts and how it's created and why it exists, and that it does exist, and that was the beginning of it. We can understand that. But I want to close in into the fact that besides that, they made their own decisions with much more clarity. There wasn't much to sway them. Whereas now that there's a population, there's so many swaying this way, that way, upside down, twisted and turning, reversing. There's so many ways. Just that message alone is insanity because there's so much pulling and twisting and bopping. And with whatever entity it is, person, places, things, many souls, many minds, many spirits, and spiritual places and physical places. You have all different things, influences. And not just influencing one thing, but influencing your mind, influencing your body, influencing your spirit, influencing how you want to look, influencing how you want your hair to look, influencing how you want your house to look, influencing how you want your woman to look or act. So many things. When there is individuality, when there is just you, where there is just one, there is just you. If you take the time, isolation, if you take the time to listen to oneself, what do I like? What do I prefer? What can I stand? What can I not stand? What ticks me off? Who am I? Getting to know oneself to understand where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do, who I'm going to be, also leads into me being able to sustain and endure. All of that is building oneself up, staying solid in who you are and your decisions, being sure. And that's all confidence, that's all integrity, that's all those inner things that only you yourself can build yourself, you and God, of course, but no other person is responsible for that. So that even if you do go out into the world outside of yourself, because now you're in a natural body and now you walk among entities that you cannot see their intentions, even if you come across such a person or people and places and things that come up against you, that you find that don't have your best interest, tries to make you appear a certain way, wants to change who you are. You and yourself have built yourself up. You have taken the time to be taught by you, your God, your Father. You've taken that time alone to know who you are, to become in familiarity with it, so that nothing can sway you. You figure it out. Now that you can go out into the world there is trustworthy in oneself, and that's how others can trust you. That's how God can trust you. That's why he builds you up. That's why he wants you to come to him. That's why he is always there. He gives you all these things inside to know that you're capable. But if you don't choose to take the initiative, if you don't choose to be proactive, and let alone the world, if you don't be proactive and like growing who you are, yeah, you can grow in other places, right? You can grow in other people's gardens. You can help them. You can grow in whatever that you choose to study in. But if you're not studying yourself, then what is the purpose of oneself? Yeah, this life, we are servitude. We're servants, and even if we weren't, we are created to have this understanding that I want to help you. I want to see you do better. Shoot, I want to see me do better. It's in us. Yes, that's nature, to help each other, because to help me is to help you, and to help you is to help me. It's helping. It's nature and it's natural, because that's the only way that things will change or make better. Something is always doing something for something else to happen. Like, it's like a reactive. It's inevitable. It will happen. So, yes, all of those things are valid and significant. But at the end of the day, and at the beginning, it's still just you. And that's where it starts, right? That's the foundation, that's the core, that's the root of everything. The message always comes back to the same thing. Meaning, no matter where we sway to, rear off to, meaning whatever interpretation or message I'm trying to convey, or, well, not message, but concept, it all comes back to the same message, which is ultimately God. It's ultimately the truth of God. It's ultimately the natural truth of God. It's ultimately nature, because we're all one with it. It's ultimately you as an individual. It's ultimately, it comes down to you, right? And your choices, you, God. Well, God and you. Whether you're being built up or not, you. Did you do it? It all comes back down to you. And the more that we grow, the more that we mature, the more that we should be getting older to see the growth, to see the message, it should all be aligning spiritually with our understanding, because our understanding should always come back to knowing that the message is always the same, if it is the truth. If it is not the truth, then it will be confusion. You will ever be searching, 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 never coming to anything. That's insanity. So with Adam and Eve, there wasn't so many different avenues as it is now, because it's populated. They have they had children that had children that had children in those generations. And now we're here. And we thank them, our ancestors. We thank the ones before us, because they were right here just as us, feeling and doing the same things, going through the day to day in the natural body, being a spirit, living the human experience, the natural body experience, the toll that it takes, the body vexed, the bones vexed, keeping up with it, maintaining it. And then just the servitude of being in a world like this. Whether you're from this world or you're not from this world, we're all in this system that they created, that a man has created. All having to work, whether it's unfair, whether it was forced, whether it's to serve unworthy people, murder, whether it's to serve, you're serving. You're serving. Being uncomfortable. Around sickness and death. They all had to do it. And we are the same. Now, every generation, things should be improving. Unfortunately, it's not. There's more sickness, there's more disease, there's more darkness. It's more acceptable. The things that lead to it. That's what you should be seeing. It shouldn't be a question. That's just what it is, and we know why. To accept such things, such darkness, well, you've asked for it. And there's only a few that speak up against it, So that is why it is important why God, my Father, hears us, hears the few, sees the few. Because you may think this falls on deaf ears because they have ears and don't hear. They have eyes and don't see. At least they choose not to. And if anything, they're asleep. So, already being the minority, already speaking of such things that go up against the powers of this world, you would think, we would believe that God would hear us, God would see us. That he looks at the least things in the world. That he chooses the least things in the world. And so, to open the book that we keep close, the book that we give credit to, the Bible, that we close because we want to fill this revelation. But when we open it, we say confirmation. We say, yes, Father. I knew, I know. Because again, as I've spoken, they can take the book. They can discard it. They can set it on fire. They can hide the book. They can ban it. That's okay. Because you know why? Because God is in me. My Father is in me. And if that's written, confirmation. If my brothers in the book were saying the same thing, confirmation. But it is a prophecy, so every generation, and there's been many, and you find yourself such a person that God speaks through, God teaches, God makes his priest. When you hold no degree, you're not in a church. You're just in your sanctuary, day in and day out, seeking the truth, believing and holding on to what's left of you. Then you can actually praise him in truth, not in just believing. Praise him in actual truth that the Bible is true. And if there is any other book out there, shout outs to them too. Maybe I'll have to read it. But right now, what has come into my life and has been in my life was the Holy Bible. And everything that I've become, everything that I am, everything that I speak of in my understanding has aligned with the Bible. Like being the embodiment of something. And then again, to know these books out here, everything of what the world is defined to be is a prophecy, right? So if you never forget that, then you would understand, just like some do in those seats up there, because they'll never forget, because they never forget the fact that people were going to rise up, people that you couldn't see from the surface, people that you wouldn't believe because you feel like they would have to look like something, they would have to possess something to show on the surface, to be the actual thing. And this is the book closed because the book can be open and to see maybe verses. You tell me, what does the verses speak about? Who God chooses, what that person will seem to be. And with the book closed, well, it didn't take the book, because that was my philosophy. That was my testimony, that I'm the black sheep, that I'm not in school. I'm not scholar. I don't know the Holy Bible verse from verse. I don't read it every day. You know, and the reason is because, again, I live here. I was raised here. I'm not that old, but I'm not that young. I'm 31. So that should give me at least decent experience. No, I don't have to be out in the streets necessarily, right? I mean, but just being out and outside of my spirit, I have no choice but to walk in the flesh as well. I have no choice but to go to work and do that sort of labor when I myself have things inside of myself that I need to work on, that I need to tend to. So I'm saying all this to say, being a witness, him using you as a vessel, was not just him speaking empty words. It was because you would have come to see. You would have no choice unless you willingly closed your eyes to evil and closed your mouth to evil and closed your ears. Willingly. But you can't run from this darkness. And that's another topic. Unless you choose to. And you're going to have a hard time. You must be building your home with like noise proof walls and windows, because you're going to hear it. And if you feel you can't hear it, you're going to see it. And we even speak it, right? It's a spiritual war. We speak we speak these things down from generations. These things just like lineage passing through curses. We curse, you know? We speak certain words that are words from before. How did we know these things? How do we know how to react to certain things? How do children just know how to play this game? All children around the world. We've all played house before. No one's taught us because if our parents seen us, they would immediately be like, "What are you guys doing?" And seeing such things, you automatically know when you were a kid, you did the same thing. What influenced these things? So much influence coming from so many different places. But in this place, it's only spiritual and physical. And then the things within that people, spirits, people. So in the beginning, when it was just Adam and Eve, there was none of that. So it was at its most rawest. It was at its most realest. Like, just as in this world, the more woke we get, the more knowledge is being spread, the more it's on, on people's TVs, at people's doors, in their face. You can't run from it. Young or old, you're going to know this knowledge, good and evil. You're going to see it, you're going to hear it. It has done spread contagion. Just like everything that you know that is contagion. If something is contagious, that there's a prophecy there. You don't have to be a literal prophet. You know that if something's contagious, it's going to spread because that's what it's created to do. Right? That was part of the prophecy. It's supposed to be fulfilled. It will be. So just in everything, you see the message. Adam and Eve didn't have that insanity of it. Again, they just had God and what God warned them and told them of the great things that he has created for them, right? As it's depicted and as it was, we'll agree with it, right? A garden, a place, a dwelling place, a sanctuary, a life, all the same, because this is where they're dwelling, this is where they live in, this is where they've been created, this is where they'll get their food, this is where they'll lay, this is where they'll have their children. He has given this to them. He has given them the animals, the creatures, to not be alone and to have these things for comfort and companionship. And so that he made them for each other. Because all you need is each other. All you will have is each other at the end of the day. Just as our grannies say, you're going to need each other one day. You guys are all you have. Well, in the beginning, that was all they had. And I'm saying this again because I want someone to see that that's all you need. That's all you need. You just need what God has created for you naturally. All the things that are natural in nature. And we are part of nature. We do not we align with nature. We do not we don't corrupt it unless we choose to. but just in our existence, we are one with nature. Adam and Eve in the beginning, they listened to each other. They listened to oneself. Besides the influence they had, besides the serpent, right? Besides God, they still had their own mind, their own body, willing to make decisions on their own. So that's freedom of choice. And it also shows you that no one can control you truly. They can sway you. You can give in. You can believe them. But you still have to take accountability for you following through with it. You actually doing the work. If we had more of this Adam and Eve complex, between a man and a woman, between your companion, what comes out of that is all the good things. There wouldn't be any outer influence. There wouldn't be any disruptions in the world that you're creating, in the love that you guys have together. The Adam and Eve complex is trusting one another, is leading each other, not allowing others outside of you to lead you. Until there was influence, until there was the serpent. As I keep explaining, yes, influence happens to see now influence exists in your understanding because it happened in the beginning. But before that, like let's say there was no outside interference. No one could sway you. You didn't allow it. Because it is hard to, when you're in a world of people and in a world where there's a spiritual warfare because of it, that the existence of influence, something that can try to penetrate your mind and your soul and your body, something that tries to break what is good and what is all love. Yeah, that exists. That has power. So now it's this, you have to fight. You have to sacrifice. You have to be mindful of who you are with so that when these things arise, it's worth it. Yes, now all these things come to be because of it. But That's a whole nother topic, but it is acknowledged. In this particular message, it's more to see how Adam and Eve had each other, and that's all they needed. God created the garden, the place for them, everything they may need. And they even had God among them, the face of God, that intimateness, where they seen no shame in themselves being naked, because God created them naked, perfect. He knows them, and they know Him. There's innocence, there's just the beginning. You can just see what the beginning of beginnings look like, what that feels like, what it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to have pride or shame toward each other or to oneself. Pride in a man, to that sort of pride in a person corrupts a relationship, corrupts oneself. It brings upon untrustworthiness, hiding things. It starts to make you feel like it's none of this person's concern. This only concerns me. But again, the Adam and Eve complex is supposed to, and is, without influence, without the serpent, without eating the knowledge of eating from that knowledge. Just the purest of what He's created, and a man and a woman, and them being together, them being together as companions, friends, lovers, guides, helpers, all those things, was for it to be shameless, for it to be confident and innocent. And I know that you can get a glimpse of that, a taste of it at least. Now, depending on how long you can have it, depends on you and the fight and the sacrifice. But you can get a glimpse of it when, just when you instinctively do. Just when you instinctively do. I can't say at a certain place, at a certain time, with a certain person, but it's definitely spiritual, of course. I mean, we're not speaking of anything in vain. We're not speaking of anything in vanity. We're not speaking of anything superficial or on the surface of, no, liking a person off surface things. No. I at least know it's not in that. It's not the real version of it. You just know. You just will know. You'll just get that instinct feeling, and then everything will react to that. Your actions, your spirit, your spirit will guide you, because your spirit is alive in this time. Your spirit is connected. Your spirit is interested. And you don't have to do anything, you don't have to control it. And throughout all time in your life, this is the number one time in your life where you're totally aligned with it. You just sit back and allow your spirit to show itself, be itself. It's the number one time where you can and you can't interfere. And you're glad you just can't because it feels so good. It looks good. It is good. It's a natural good. It's a natural high, right? So many things to describe it. And everything of the knowing floods in because you have time to think when your spirit is working. Your spirit is doing its thing. Everything floods in like, this is right. This is different. This is how it's supposed to be. This is innocent. This is the Adam and Eve complex. Because I have no pride. I have no shame. Right? Some people might say, I'm vulnerable. But in a positive way. Because you never would think that your spirit would go up against you, not me. It'd be working for you. So to be vulnerable, for me at least, to be able to be vulnerable, to be open, for my spirit to come out and show itself, it's like activated. It has come to see something it likes, it comes to know something it's interested in. And now I see how I come alive. And I sit back. I become second on, I become second in my understanding. My eyes literally go within me, and my spirit is what comes out to see. And that's the version that the person, the thing may receive. And I'm sitting back just in amazed, just as I'm sure they'll feel it, amazed that if only this moment could last, that if moments like this would last, this is paradise. This is milk and honey. This is rich. This is the Adam and Eve complex. It reminds you of how innocent and how it's simple and there's no hard work that goes into love, true love. Your spirit, and when you allow it, when you're just allowing it to be, when you're putting it first, but in this case, when you have no choice, because most times we have to try, we have to choose to put our spirit first, because again, we lie in the flesh. So it is the first, it is made prominent for understandable reasons. So to see that your spirit comes to the surface, and it's the Adam Eve complex, as in it's the innocent part of you, it's the pure, it's the love that's inside you. You in that moment also come to realize that it needs to be protected. And that's only because of what exists. But if it was just the beginning, before the serpent, before the knowledge of knowing the evil, to that extent at least, because I'm sure there will always be, opinions, but opinions is not evil. Us debating about something, or me thinking something different besides what you are thinking, is not evil. Evil is evil. So before there was the evil knowing to do evil works, to think evil things. Before all of that, before the sacrifice and the fight, you come to like know in that moment just everything, all the understanding behind it, where it comes from, why it's so sacred, why it's so important, right? Why it's so precious, why it's more than rubies, why you trade everything for it, you sell your house for it, you leave your family for it. Mm. Because it is fulfillment to one's soul. It is a completion. And you find it with the person that your soul is connected to. Me being a woman, I'm a soul of a woman. My soul will be connected to a man, soul of a man. So whoever that man is that my soul will be connected to, so the Adam and Eve complex is just that. Seeing how God gave them everything before there was the evil. There was just them. There was just the knowing that they're meant for each other, that they're there for each other, that they're friends, that they're lovers, that they're soulmates, that they've been created from one another. And that there's no shame, there's nothing to hide. Everything's bare, everything's naked. There's nothing to question because there's nothing that you don't know about me, or I don't, or there's nothing that I don't see that I haven't seen already. None of that exists. It's not in my capacity in the beginning. Because you just know that this person's created for you. Almost like this person loves you, you know them. There's a sureness, there's a confidence, there's everything is juvenated, everything is juiciest, everything is sweetest, nothing sour in the beginning. And then things start to come down, right? The juice, it's not as sweet. Then it turns tart, it's sour. You start to question things, you start to not be sure, you start to have insecurities, you start to feel shameful, you start to hide your nakedness. You start to look elsewhere, you start to look outside of yourself, outside of yourselves. You start to trust in others rather than trusting in your friend and your companion and your other helper. When we had each other, when we were created for one another, Yes, if there was people, again, now, if there was people, if there was influences, if there was forces that tried to sway or were just there as a community, there to help, there to guide, there to just be opinionated as they supposed to be, because we're all different. We still had our knowing. We should have still kept what what made us, what created us. And when you don't have that anymore, when you don't have that in yourself, you don't have that in each other, you don't have that Adam and Eve complex, then that invites in the troubles of the world. So be prepared for it, as I like to say. If you're out here, as I am too, but you're out here and you're with this person, that person, willing to do this, willing to do that, just be wary because of the troubles of the world, because of the knowledge that you know, because of everything that is accepted. Now there's a big fight. Now there's a warfare. Now there is, but it wasn't until it was. And now that it is, it's been able to be continued, able to spread, able to be accepted when it could have been all changed and it could have been a dying thing. But it's alive and well. This fruit of evil is alive and well. There's trees that produce this fruit in every yard, in every place. Even planting seeds produced evil seeds. So understanding that this is the world that we're in and this is what is consistent in it. Be wary. To have the Adam and Eve complex, you it's a dream. It's a once upon a time thing. It happened. But we all know that just because a person's married or in a relationship or has kids doesn't mean that they're their soulmate, that they're in love, that they actually love each other, that they even know what love is, because they might have not even known love to know the difference. Mm. And that sort of thing is, to me, the same as being lost, because you don't know how far you're gone. You don't know how far you're going because you can't see. And just to know that you're in darkness is to just that for that to be enough for me. Because to know that I'm in darkness, I don't know which way to go. And just to know that I'm going somewhere that I can't see should frighten a person, because how deep you could be in that darkness. How deep in the way that a person can sway you into a direction that wasn't meant for you, that not even that it wasn't meant for you, but that they're just leading you. And that you, because it comes back to you, you didn't allow them to lead you. Your guide, your spirit wasn't leading them. You are being led because of what you see. Maybe they have degrees. Maybe they look very handsome. Maybe he looks equipped like a warrior. And I'm just going to follow him. Maybe because he just tells me to. Maybe because that's what the system would like for me to do. Maybe that's what they teach us, that every man is a leader. I say every man should be a leader. I say I have no problem allowing a man to lead. I'd prefer it. But I'd also like to say that I'm a leader too, regardless. Whether I had a man, whether there's men that exist, whether I have to be. I will always be. If I'm able, if I hold worthiness and worthiness to lead. If God appoints me, yeah. But you have to build yourself. You have to work. You have to be an example. Being a man is not an example of a leader. Just like being a woman and having kids is not an example of a mother. No, you have to be built. You got to work. You got to earn that title. You have kids, you are just an individual that, as a woman can pop out a weasel, pop out a baby, be a vessel. As a man created, you have the instinct to be a leader. The instinct of a man is different than a woman. But your instinct, but if you're not instinctually doing your calling, acting in it, and going against it, then I can't call you a leader. Because that just means you're simply not leading. Everyone is capable of leading themselves and others. Women are made to be how they're made to be, strong as can be. Very inquisitive, very, very knowledgeable. Very patient. And so many other things. That's just instinctual. That's just nature. But we don't have to act on it. But when it comes to strength, everyone is equipped with it. We don't all have to act on it. So when he is weak, I'm still capable to lead. And when I am weak, of course he's capable. So it all really comes down to choice. Yes, I don't have to lead if there's a man and he's leading me. But really, who truly says that he leads and I just follow? We lead each other. We listen to each other. Without influences, yes. It's the influence that brings the trouble. Because if it was just by our own understanding, then all we have is to blame each other, blame ourselves. But if we allow some other thing to influence us, well, then it's whose fault is it? There's who did it first? So to have the Adam and Eve complex is to be one with one another. Is to just be one and to trust one another and to be strong in that. Be solid. And when you're all of those things, again, it's innocent. It's blameless. It's understanding. But you can only have that with someone that is meant for you, someone that loves you. You understand that? And that's the crucial thing that is like always going to be the missing piece in a world such as this. because there's so many people in so many places. Influence. And you get to choose. You get to choose who you can be with or who you want to try to be with. Because who's to say it's going to last? And who's to say it's going to last on solid ground? As in love. Is the foundation love, or is the foundation just security or benefits? Because it can last off of benefits. It can last off of security. It can last off of a contract. Because you got married in this world in a worldly way. So hopefully it's a foundation of love, but even still, what would always be the missing piece is you're in a world that doesn't operate in the godly complex. They don't operate in the Adam and Eve complex. And in this way, I'm saying God was there with them. God, they were the beginning, so everything was clear, everything was simple, everything was in your face, everything was, there was nothing to question. Once God created Adam, God created the animals, and he seen that, and then he was able to witness that he created a woman for him, a companion, another helper, a friend, everything that he'll need. That's why there's nothing that is comparable to a woman and a man in that complex, because we need each other. There's always going to be a force, a yearning, a needing, a wanting. It's just going to always be there. Unless your soul, your spirit, your mind is corrupted. But naturally, nature takes its place, takes its rightful place, and it only does what it's supposed to do as it's created. You can go up against it. You can go up against it, as most is doing in these days. And that's okay. Because people can do what they want to do, and that's the free will, that's the free choice they have. And that's another topic. But we're speaking on a person that is not corrupted, a person that is solid, a person that is in tune with their mind, body, and soul, a person that knows, a person that is for nature and not against it. That complex is what most people will say when they are wanting a more soul connection with someone. Well, it's rare because God created Adam for Eve and Eve for Adam, and that is just the truth. There's no question. But when you now come into this world, and this is no paradise, this is really no life. This is a place to realize or fall in lies and never see the truth, never come to realize either one. But this is the life, this is the world that we're in, this is the will. The tricky things, because now the serpent and is allowed to be ruler, and the fruit of him is widespread in the darkness, and the influence that us beings spiritually and heavenly and in this earthly realm is at war with. That there it is, that missing piece. Right in that crevice there is this chance rarity that you can find, will find, and even still, how long of it can you have it? But it's very slim, to the point of me saying how the days will be cold because there's no love, no foundation, no core foundation. Maybe it's surface level love. Oh, I love you because you've done this for me. I love you because you loved me because I loved you first. All surface to me ain't real love, really. Because love to me is nature. What nature has given me, what nature has produced. It has to be natural. It has to be God sent. It has to be just, it just is. You can't describe it. It's just how I feel. I couldn't choose this. It's not because you look good to me. It's not because I look good to you, because that's going to change. So that's surface level. That's not real. That's superficial to me. That's temporary love. That's infatuation. That's lust. So in that crevice, there's it's rarity. And that's the issue of life. That's the issue of these, that's that's the issues of life, yeah. In this life. The issues that arise from it. And in that crevice it's very thin crevice, right? It's to enter through, very narrow. It's only a few, only a few, I'm sure, only has this or can receive it, because it's God sent. It's only God given. And yes, we go out into the world and we try to control our destiny. We try to control our love life. We try to control everything naturally. Naturally, it's a natural instinct, but there's a yin and yang to it. Because yes, on the flesh, we got to discipline the flesh. We got to control it, but not our spirit, not when it comes to love and our soul and our, things that are invisible. You see, that is where you draw the line. That is where you see the difference. Yes, control is a good thing. But what are you controlling? And to find that you're trying to control your love life, control your spirit, control you, the invisible things, the godly things, the nature, how dare you? How dare you? That is destruction and corruption to one's creation, to nature, to the natural things in life. It's all twisted. You see, everything has become twisted. The things that we're supposed to be controlling, we're allowing to be free. The flesh, we need to tame the flesh. And it's just the truth, because it is free. And it is wild. And it needs to be tamed. And it needs to be disciplined. But for some reason, we spoil it, we feed it, we prioritize it. Amen? And again, there's a yin and yang to it. We need to prioritize it to an extent, but not to the extent where we're sacrificing our spirit, where we're sacrificing what's meant for us, the godly promises that he's trying to allow us to see and receive. But we're tainting that. We're trying to control that. Right? Give you in a depiction, a interpretation down to earth. When someone comes into your life, something comes into your life, and you look at it and you say, well, this is not from my eyes, from my worldly eyes, up to my standards. But in my soul, in my spirit, I feel connected. I feel like you're a good person. I feel like you could be good for me. This could be good for me, but I don't like it. I don't like what I see. because I'd rather want to see this. I'd rather want to hear this from my worldly ears and my worldly eyes, right? Like I want someone with this sort of voice, or I want someone with this sort of eyes, or this sort of skin tone. What? You're trying to control what is being sent to you, sent to your soul, sent to your spirit, not sent to your flesh. So you can control that. What's sent and received to your flesh. You can go out there and look for what you want to see on the surface and receive those things. Like, oh, I'm looking for someone that is paler skin. I'm looking for something that's darker skin. I'm looking for something that's shorter than me or taller than me. So let me go out there and look for it so I can receive it, so I can control that. I can control that. Amen. You shouldn't want to control the invisible forces. Not that you truly can, but I just described how you can without whether you knew it or didn't know it. But that's also how you do come to know it. That, oh, my soul feels connected to this person, but when I look at them, I'm not very, like, they're not bad looking, but I have my eyes on something else. Or I thought in my fantasy that it would look like something else. When it's just like, you yourself don't even know. You yourself changes your mind, your body, you yourself changes that message. So how can we trust? How can you trust? How can you truly know what your mind and body believes or thinks or fantasizes when your mind and body changes, not your spirit? Your spirit can strengthen and your spirit can renew, but only by God's doing. We're talking about the things that you know that you can control. And so knowing that your mind and your body changes, you also know that sometimes most times you can't trust yourself, because it's insanity sometimes up there where you're unsure, there's uncertainty. I know within me, on the surface, I'm sure in myself, but on the surface, I'm dealing with that war of living in the flesh and those decisions I can make. Yes, as I should have uncertainty, because it should be taken seriously, because I'm not living in I'm not home. I'm in a foreign world, in a foreign body, in a foreign version where my true existence abides within it. And that every decision I make can either be can give to me or take away from me. Not only that, but does it align with who I am? And that's why I take it seriously. It doesn't have to, though. I can choose to work somewhere. I can choose to walk with someone. I can choose to sleep with someone. I can choose this influence, this company, even though they don't feed me, even though they don't align with my principle or my morals. I can even do things that don't align with my morals or my principles. That is why you got to take it seriously. That is why it's important to have this spiritual maturity, because we've all been there. We're not perfect. Okay, well, this is what it consists of. That is why there's acknowledgement. That is why it's reflection. Because you'll realize the growth, you'll hear it, you'll see it, you'll come to know it. So that when you do speak and you call yourself an elder, or you expect to be on this council and hold nothing, well, you don't have nothing to show for it. We don't hear anything come from you that's actually worthy for you to speak for the nations, for you to speak for the children, for you to speak for God. So everything does connect, as you see. As long as my mind's not fluttering, I can remember. Everything I can remember. But I am aware of these things. And no, I'm not in a relationship, nor have I ever been. But I still hold knowledge and wisdom because it doesn't take for me to be in those things to actually know. Just as it doesn't take for you to be in those relationships to learn anything, to grow, to accept, to move, to be. Because everything is in you. God teaches you. Silence, clarity. Your soul teaches you. It has been here before. Ancestors that are in you, I'm sure. And whether you've been here before, far as ancestors wise, you've been in other worlds to understand, to come to see, to experience certain things. That when you're in this world and you find that no book is open, no influence is here, but for some reason your soul speaks to you. You just know what to do. You just know where to go. It just guides you. And you don't question it. You know the reason. You say because the soul knows all when I don't. The soul is what keeps me. When I'm losing myself, that is why it's important for you to want to keep your soul, not sell it. That's why it's important for when you go to sleep, you want to keep your soul no matter where you go. That is what is resurrected. That is what is reincarnated in something or some place. It doesn't matter what you'll look like or wherever you go, wherever you're put, in what family, what place, what world, what realm, deep in the ocean, deep in the crevice, high above the clouds. He will always know you. You will always know you by searching within, by your essence, by your spirit, by your soul. That is how God, if not the world, recognizes you. That is how God recognizes you. So now you can understand why the verses will speak of why God searches you within, why he's so big on knowing you, knowing your intentions. Well, can't you see? When people speak of how you shouldn't judge a book by its cover and you shouldn't define me on the surface and I'm more than what meets the eye and the eye of the beholder, because it all confirms that it's what's within that person that defines them. It's where you'll find me. It's where this voice is coming from. Right? It's where this essence is coming from. It's where this personality and this soul. You feel soul around people. Deep, depth, deep in the soul. Where does that come from? Well, it comes from experience. It comes from being built up. It comes from a place. Once upon a time, it comes from living. Amen. It comes from wherever you've been, and you've been places, and you've been many things. And God knows all those things and all those places that you've been, even though you may have forgotten. Your soul doesn't. Your soul is just now in another entity, in another place, in another world, in another body. When you forget and you fall asleep and you lie and you cheat and you steal and you fall short of the glory. It has known you to see the worst, to see the better, to see the potential, to see in your past, to remember. To remember. And that is all that it calls out for you to do when it does everything for you. It holds all of those things when you can't, because the body is weak. The mind is weak. It is temporary. But what is forever? What is treasured? What is something that can't be destroyed, that no man can take from you? But we'll try to figure you out and try to penetrate through. What are they trying to get to? They're trying to get to you. They're trying to figure out what makes you you. And that's where the power resides. That's where it's found. And that is why God sees you. And that is how he does. So when you feel less than a person because of the surface and what you see in the world, understand, if you have not come to realize or come to know you, that is the negative part of vulnerable, being those things in the world. That is the negative side of it. That is being swayed left and right. That's dangerous. That's the weakest you could ever be without trying or willing. Exposed because you don't know who you are. Because not knowing who you are now makes it so you don't believe in you and you don't see yourself in any light, but that you go out and you idolize and you believe in others to do it for you when you could do it yourself. That could be you. That could be you walking too, holding your cross, doing your work, working on the council, just as me, with a seat. When he says, when they ask, could I sit on the left and right side of you, Jesus? Jesus that did his work, walked with his cross, the Jesus that drank from his cup and passed it. He said, well, you will drink from this cup. You will have to work. You will have to hold your cross. But you can choose not to. And so to know that these seats are here is also to know that my Father has preserved them for the ones according, and I'll tell you, according to their works. He says according to the purpose. Yeah. Are they on their purpose? Are they doing the work? Are they holding their own cross? Have they not given up? He says, don't let anyone take your crown. Hold on just a little longer. I'm coming. But everyone's going to drink this cup and everyone's eligible. But these seats are reserved. And you better hope that's your seat. But there's clear indications. Clear. If you are not who you say you are, if you're not walking and you're just doing that talking, if you just don't believe in yourself, if you don't know yourself and you're lost, you're on the verge of you're on the verge of or at least on the verge of at least knowing that that's not you, that you might not be able to have that sort of seat, and that's okay. But to ask a question like that and to or at least expect a seat like that next to him, well, he's just reminding you that it's not up to him, that it's up to the Father, but it's also up to drinking this cup and fulfilling the purpose and the will. And it all starts with you. It all starts with knowing who you are, trying to keep that godly complex, that Adam and Eve complex, before there was sin, before there was influence. You have your own understanding, and I teach on this. Your answers will come from you. If you're in alignment, I don't know you. I know myself, and I know that God teaches me. And the reason why I'm sure the reason why he teaches me, because I'm not out here looking in someone else. I'm looking in me. When something's happening with me, or I don't feel right, or something has troubled me, yes, it helps that I live alone, because then there's no one to go to. So there's the praise in that yes, isolation is where you find him, because I'll come home and I'll reflect on it, right? I'll come home and I'll talk about it. And initially I am talking to myself, but am I really? When I say things like, I've tried, Father, I've tried, and my heart is full, and full of sorrow, because I might have been knowing a long time, right? And it was being built up. But I, for the sake of my heart, kept trying, kept showing up, kept using everything that he's given me as a person, as a being willing. And so when you come home in that moment and you look in the mirror, you say, I've tried, because what you've given me is hurting me. What I am is hurting me. When you reach that level, even like seeing it now and reflecting, to have reached that level of tiresome and coming to him about something that he's given you. I remember reflecting on this, that I couldn't believe it myself, because it was something that I even said that I didn't choose to. I wouldn't choose to come to you about something like this, but it's my heart, and it hurts, and it was different. This is the difference. It hurt because I kept choosing. I couldn't change what he's made me to be, what he's created me to be. But I knew that I wanted to be done. I wanted to be over with. Initially, I just wanted to move on. Initially, I just wanted to be free. And this is family. Mind you, I've not been in love. Not yet. Other than my father, of course, but in my spiritual family and things like that. But I'm talking about family, the things of like where it starts in the beginning. And so, yeah, I come home and I face it, because it was bottled up. And you come home and you explode, and you're done. Almost like you've been defeated, in a way of, like in a positive defeat, like in a way where he wanted you to see. Not that they've defeated me, because truly I've passed the test. Right? I showed up for people that never showed up for me. I was still showing up for people that probably never expected me to show my face, or maybe didn't want me to. So this had nothing to do with them defeating me. It was, I guess, I guess also in a way I defeated what people probably thought or believed. The invisible things, the invisible forces. Because I didn't have to do those things. Again, it was my heart. So I didn't come home to say, "Oh, this person, this that." It was me. I was tired of me. I was tired of my heart. And then he set me free. He set me free from that. And I can take a lot of messages from it, and that's a whole nother topic. But I mean, all I will say to that is, yeah, my mind's fluttered. I forgot. It's okay. Um, I just know everything comes back to that same message, which is it comes back down to you. And that's it. That's just the message. It just comes back down to you. And it's a fight, it's a sacrifice. But that's how you'll hear God's voice. That is how you'll find him in a world of influence. There it is. It's coming all back to me. Because you come into this quiet place outside of everything. And you're going to get tired. So it's expected to confess it. And I can only imagine what other people go through with so many other people, because I that's I don't know what that feels like. I'm sure that's overstimulating. I only keep like my job and my siblings, and if I even have a acquaintance or a friend, right? Like I wouldn't say a friend, but a acquaintance, right? Maybe someone from my job or something like that, but no more than like 8 contacts. Like I don't so I can only imagine the expectations and the needs and the wants. So that's why I only have my past, my family to use as an interpretation, because that's for me where it started. That's where I seen him, and like that was where the transformation happened. And then now, as I get older and I in the world and I'm meeting strangers or people and other spirits outside of that, I'll be already ready and understanding, so I won't be swayed and this and that. I've already been able to hear him and see him. So to have that Adam and Eve complex in all of what I've said, I just simply mean you'll only find it with people that you're intentional with and people that are meant for you. If they're not meant for you, they won't last, of course. So there's no reason to try hard. There's no reason to try at all. Just do. And if it doesn't work, then it isn't meant to. I personally wouldn't want to be a person that settles for anything. The more that your mind is renewed, the more you do better. So you shouldn't want to settle for anything while you're evolving, because that's the whole point of evolving. We're setting better in your mind, in your sight. We're setting better all around you to see, to know. So that you don't have to. You don't have to settle. There's no reason to. To be given a paved way so clear in front of you is only praise to God. It's also something you yearn for. It's a, like they say, wish come true. But you see how rare that is and how narrow that crevice is to be able to find such things in this world. Well, it takes works. It's not just believing. I'm a worker, so I'm not going to just speak on believing. If I was just a believer, then I would just say believe. But to get to this extent, right, to see such things further than you could ever imagine, that part, in anyone's understanding, would take work. Work exists in that message for a reason, to understand where it originated from, the beginning. So I'm trying to make you see that, yes, you can believe, that's fine, and still enter the kingdom. But you want this seat, you want that seat, you want this sort of crown. You don't want just any crown. You want this crown. You want to be able to choose your crowns, really. And you're just a believer. You're not a worker. You didn't work. And then you're going to turn around and preach that it has something to do with works. Okay. There's a question. I'm questioning that, because why are you so choosy? Why are you so picky when you ain't put no work in? So there's levels to it. And like he says, it's according to your deeds. Works are deeds. There's this understatement that, yes, there are workers of him. He appoints them. They're the worker. They're the workers in his body. And then there's everyone else. So there's this understanding that, yes, not everyone can be a worker. Not because, like, he says so, but just because you don't choose to. I choose to. If everyone was working, then everyone would be speaking about the truth. I spoke about this many times. People don't want to do this sort of work. People feel this may be stressful because on top of the work they already have to do. Understandable. Because again, let's open our eyes to see what everyone else sees. We're in a world where we have to work physically. Most people don't want to do both works. In a world where spirituality isn't popularized, well, let me take that back. My father's truth, my father's way. I'm not going to say Christianity, but if you wanted to see it as a Christianity thing, then okay. But I don't use religion. I don't use a title. If you're doing my father's work, then you do my father's work. That's it. There's nothing that you need to title. He knows who's following him. There's no religion in that. Right? You're a single person. Like, you don't need to be in a community. You don't need to be in no church. You don't need to be doing anything outside of yourself, but just where you are and where you are should be with him. Where you are and where your mind should be seeking him. So, yes. Understandable in a world like this where you've made a life for yourself, you're creating it, you're having children. Okay. When do you have the time? When all you have time to eat and sleep and do it all over again. In a world where there's fear and all you have is troubles inside, and you're cursing God, or certain situations may have transpired where you're sick or this or that, and your faith is not the same. You're not going to be doing the work as you would be, as you could be doing. Because again, there's so many other things that you're supposed to do that's pulling you, that's swaying you, that's influencing you. And then also your choice to make time for it. And again, it's an understandable thing. I'm just making it known that there's only really a few workers in the world. Well, the true workers. Because again, there's levels to it. There's people that are in and out, and then there's just people that are in. So when he makes a decision, yes, he's going to see that you did some work, but ultimately, if you're going to want to get that crown of crowns and seat of seats, it's not going to be given to a person that was like in and out. It's going to be given to the person that was just in. Again, for me, I know there's a parable that speaks about, you know, the workers and the wages that he given everyone the same, even if that worker started way after they did, you know. That's a whole nother message. But even to touch on that, for me, I don't care about things. So yes, if I seen my father giving you a crown of rubies and it looked just like mine, I'm okay with that. Because remember, it comes back down to your soul and knowing that you've done what you've done. And he knows that. There's no reward. You see, there's no rubies that can compare to that. What really matters is him seeing you, right? Because if like Jesus wasn't risen, or if God wasn't existing, or you know, God was dead or whatever, and he didn't see me or he didn't hear me, then what is all this for then? Right? This is not for rewards. I don't do this for rewards. You see, I don't do this for crowns. So even if I get a crown and you get a crown, and it's the same crown, or you get to sit next to Jesus and I'm in the back, some regular person would be like, wait a second, something's not right here. But with me, since you're built up in knowing the truth, and you're sure and you're confident and you have integrity, it's okay if you're in the back. Because you know what? I know that God sees me. So then when you find out, he says, daughter, come up here. I'm going to be like, yep, I knew it. But even if it didn't happen, it's okay, because why am I measuring my worthiness to a crown? Why am I measuring my worthiness to a seat? You see, and God, I'm his daughter, so he knows me. And anyone that knows me knows that I don't care about those things. So I wouldn't be surprised if I didn't get the crown, or if I wasn't sitting next to him. I don't have to, because I know my father and he knows me. I love him and he loves me. And he has, and you know, like there's no worry. I'll say give it to the person that wants it. Give it to the person that, you know, needs it, you know, because they feel they need it. If they feel they need this crown to feel something, even though that's not the message we convey, it's still conveying my message to show you the truth, to show you my truth. Give it to them then, right? If she's crying over this shoe, Jesus, give her the shoe. Just give her the shoe. Because regardless, it would never take away from the truth. In my heart, in her hearts, in their hearts. Because in her heart, she still knows that shoe don't belong to her. She still knows she didn't work for it. So who's really, you know, and it sucks, because why give her the shoe? She's not, it's like giving in to something when really, no, you need to see. You don't need to be worried about the shoe, right? Like there needs to be growth there, because you're worried about the wrong things. So there's so many things you can take from this, right? And I'm sure there's parables and those sort of messages, like he takes things away from you. Why? To humble you, to strengthen you. He breaks you down and builds you back up for character building. Because you wouldn't be crying over a shoe. You wouldn't be crying over a crown because this crown has more rubies. She has more rubies than me. So what? You see, if your character was being built, if your character was built up, you wouldn't do that crap. You wouldn't act that way. So you would stand out like a sore thumb up there, just like I stand out here. How I don't fit in here, how you would see me and know something's different. Well, you will stand out up there. Do you understand? Do you see the message? Because it's character. What makes me stand apart? My character. What makes me stand apart? My spirit. My spirit is my character. It's all those things being built up into this spiritual body. Integrity, dignity, courage. It's like the confidence, it's the pride, it's knowing, it's the understanding, it's the knowledge, it's the wisdom. So when you don't have that up there, you don't have character, you don't belong. Like, how did you get in here, servant? You weren't invited, or you're not dressed in wedding clothes, as in you us, right? You're not dressed in wedding clothes. You don't seem like one of us. You don't talk like one of us. You don't have the understanding like one of us. You don't have the character, right? And a nice way of saying it, and a nice way of saying it, because Father just says, you're a work of iniquity. I never knew you. Straight to the point. But if we wanted to milk it, give you a parable like Jesus does, or if I wanted to depict it and interpret it in different ways, it still all means the same message, that however you want to say it, in a more harsh way, subtle way, parable, or straight to the point, you don't belong here. And we know you don't. Or they can say you're not worthy. How did you get here? Or you weren't invited. How did you get through this door? Because of your character. So when it matters here, when things that, you can get away with here, you can't get away with up there. Just like things that I can't get away with here, like my mouth, like, oh, I talk too much, or I'm speaking up. Yeah, I can't get away with that here. But I can get away with it up there, right? Like, I'm on the council, so of course we talk all day about these things. But down here, I can't talk about such evil, right? I can't expose such evil, even though I was sent here to do that. Even though it is my nature to do it. Even though they try to shut me up and shut me out and punish me and behead me and crucify me and prison me, they've done these things. Throw rocks, they've done it. You see my answers, they've done it. We are one. We sent here for the same purpose. We walk the same line. Right? You see them, you see me. Jesus says it. When you see me, you see my Father. And the only way to get through him is through me. Well, same thing. Come to know these verses. Come to understand these messages. Because they're not a secret, and they shouldn't be. They were hidden for a good reason, in a godly prophecy way, but they're not supposed to be, right? Like, you're supposed to be able to see me. You're supposed to be able to understand me. They're not supposed to be parables. We're not trying to be funny, right? Jesus is not trying to be funny, but he knows where he's at. And he knows that you're not going to understand him, so that when you do ask him why he's speaking parables, he's going to answer you and say, because I know that the ones that understand me and wouldn't question me. It's that message. It's not that he's just speaking in parables. It's the message behind it. It's the grand message behind it. I speak in parables because that allows you to know who's of me, that allows me to know who's of me, that allows you to see who's of me. Because remember, there's a serpent that knows all things and knows that there's people among this place, right? We're all among each other. That some of us are not all the same. Some of us don't belong. But how do we know if we were all scattered together in this field? Raised together, speak the same, look the same, where you can only see the difference in a person through their spirit, through their character. So they try to customize you, they try to classify you, they try to systematic you, they try to shut you in, shut you out, they try to discipline you, they try to change you, program you to make you all look, feel, think, believe, and walk the same. But for some reason, you will always stand out, right? You will always be set apart for some reason, even though you were raised among these people, you were raised among in the family. Like he says, I know what family I put you in. See, the verses just confirm it, but we know this because you sprout and you sprout and you sprout and you sprout and you rise and you rise and you rise, meaning you just always wake up again for some reason. Every time, everything that's set out against you, right? The potions and the poisons, the things we drink and eat, and the air that we breathe because of contamination that keeps us drowsy, depleted. Right? If we could only see the spirit would be like in and out, blinking, like weak, like trying to weaken it. And how we know that is because the body's already weak. So it's destroying the body, of course. But I can only imagine what it's doing to the spirit. And the spirit would always be willing, but my goodness. There's times where the spirit is tired, I'm tired. But when they start to see you keep speaking, when that serpent knows what it's thrown at you, what it's sent against you, all the tactics, all the potions and things that are so strong. I mean, he's been working. We got to give him credit. That is what I'm saying, that all those parables are not just for nothing. He's not being funny, even though he's funny. I'm sure he's funny. I'm funny. But I'm just saying, like, it's more than you think. And I think that's where the mysteries come from, because just as we know, not every eye can see, even though these verses are here to read. And everyone can edify it for the body, the so-called church. Like, do you have the gift of interpretation? Do you have the gift of the Holy Spirit? Because if you do, then you don't need a book. You don't need a degree. You don't need to, you can go to school, which is a great thing. I'm just saying you didn't have to. Just speak, right? Just take time out and choose to, and see the belief, see the dreams, see God, see all the things in you. What miraculous things that you can create. Just you. The miraculous things you can come to see through you. That is where my philosophy, as I've said before, that is where my philosophy lies. It lies from me bear witnessing to me. You don't have to go to school to become someone or to change the world. I said you don't have to. I didn't say it wasn't good. No, go to school. We should all go to school. Study something. I'm just saying what I know because of the revelation that has been shown to me. I'm knowing all these things and I'm saying, well, look at me. I'm just I'm just me. Like, I'm just me. And then when you open the book, it says those things, that I'm going to be in you, and that the Holy Spirit will, give you knowledge and wisdom, and you're going to be. And I'm just like, oh my God, guys. Also, the Bible is true. I have no choice but to praise it. So I just happen to be one of those people that can praise the Bible, can say it's true, because it is. And that's just more glory that I give to the Father, because this is what he's done to me, right? I can't praise man if I didn't go to school to be taught this. I can't praise my mother if she didn't raise me. I can't praise my family if they never cared for me. I don't have anyone else to give this credit to. You go onto the world, the men ain't teaching you these things. The woman ain't teaching you these things. You go on TV and listen to TV. The TV's not programmed to teach you these things. Okay, well, Alize, what have you been doing? What have you been doing? Well, if you know me, then you know I spend a lot of time in isolation. Interesting, interesting. And then there's this new knowledge where now everyone talks about it. Now every YouTube and AI thing talks about these things, and I say, well, that's all spiritual too. Even though it's AI, they're using AI to send out this truth. Everything's aligned. Everything's a confirmation. Everything's a revelation. Oh, there's a new movie that speaks about these things. Oh, well, another confirmation. So even though you are alone in the world, even though I'm alone, I'm in isolation, I've always been, and I've never been really cared for, and, the black sheep, I've been given so many, signs, confirmations in the spiritual way. But physically, I'm still alone. There's no person face to face that's comforting me, but it's, oh, there's that movie. Oh, there's a YouTube video that talks about people like me, or there's a verse. Now there's a book, a Bible that I can read that speaks about people like me, or just the truth. And I say, wow, I'm not alone spiritually. And he says that. He says, yeah, you're not alone spiritually, but physically you are, and it's just like, wow. If God wasn't coming years ago, he's definitely coming. He's definitely coming, And that's how I know. I don't just believe that he's coming, because as we should know, as we should believe, he is, but I'm not going to sit here and say all these miraculous things are happening to me or coming to my revelation for nothing. And to know that people can only imagine a relationship with God and what sort of intimate relationship that could be, if they're even telling the truth about it. Because I'm sure there's so many videos that talk about, I had a dream and like I died once and seen God, and I don't really listen to much of those things, but I've come across it. And kudos to that, right? But he came to me, and I have my own testimony, and I have my own knowing that he's coming back. Because as I like to praise again, he did take the fear away. I don't no longer have fear. I no longer have to feel that feeling of fear. It's gone as well. And I have not felt it since 2018. That alone told me he was coming. To hear that, oh, Jesus is going to come back one day, and you believed it, but you never knew the day or the hour. And then you start realizing the fear is gone. You start realizing that you're testifying your whole life story, and that through your story, you're seeing God. Through your story, you're hearing wisdom and truth. And Through you. Through you, you're seeing the verses align with your life. Through you, you're seeing people speak about things you've already been, things you already do, things you already are. And to sit here and be like, oh, I'm not a believer, or I'm an antichrist, or God's not coming, that doesn't make any sense. That wouldn't make any sense. It is really only a matter of time. Because he's already came to me once, like for sure the first time. To take away the fear. He's came to me to let me know that individuals are selfish beings within themselves. They have a right to. He's came to me in spirit when I was speaking through the Holy Spirit. He came to me when he comes to me every time when I'm testifying. And every time I'm given insight, I'm given able to see. Even though I can't touch the spiritual world, I can't see that I am. It's knowing to see. He's taught me that too. Even though I can't hear I can't see it's almost like I can't see to hear his voice. Like I can't see that he's talking to me. I can't see that his voice, his mouth is moving. But I know he is through me. So that verse that I know is a verse is saying, through you, you'll see I'm in you. That's the alignment too. Because it is true. Through me, I can see it. Through knowing what you have done for me, I can see you. And we only wait to see fully, right? I only wait to see him, to be able to touch him, to see that I can touch him, to see that I can hear him. That's what I wait for. To see his face when I'm speaking, not to just know that he's there, know that he's listening, know that he's working behind the scenes. I want to see it, right? I want to see it again. To be able to lay your eyes on the true God is not comprehensible. But that's what I wait for. That's the only thing. I know he's here. I know that he's for me. I know that he keeps me. But I only wait to see him again. And I'll leave it there.